Good afternoon, everyone. It's so great for you to be here today. I'm Lori Richard-Jandrin, Volunteer State President for AARP Michigan. I'm so glad you've joined us for Money Matters Ask the Expert, our virtual series designed to give you the tools and confidence to take charge of your financial future. Today's session is especially important. It is the final event in our four-part series, and we're really diving into Social Security. And let's face it, this is a program every single one of us has a stake in. Here's a quick reality check for us who may not know these numbers. Nearly 1 in 5 Michigan residents, that's more than 2.3 million people, receive Social Security benefits. Nationally, Social Security lifts nearly 22 million Americans out of poverty each year, including more than 16 million older adults. And for about 1 in 2 retirees, Social Security makes up at least half of their income. If you've ever held a job, you've paid into Social Security. It's your money. But when it's time to claim your benefits, the decisions can feel kind of overwhelming, and they can impact your monthly income for the rest of your life. That's why we're here. Let's do a quick pulse check. If you feel comfortable, share in the chat. Are you already receiving Social Security? Are you still deciding when to apply? So go ahead and ring in on that question if you care to. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. We've got a great response. And if you're unsure about when to apply, you're not alone. That's exactly why we've created today's session. To guide us through the ins and outs of Social Security, we are thrilled to welcome Hillary Hatch. Hillary is a public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration. She has been with the agency for over 16 years and brings a wealth of experience in public outreach, education, and training. Hillary will provide valuable insights on all Social Security programs, retirement, survivors, disability, and supplemental security income. She's also a proud Michigander with a master's degree in public administration from Grand Valley State University. Today, Hillary will share practical strategies to help you get the most from your benefits and plan for your financial legacy. Then we're going to open it up to you, and your questions will be front and center, and you'll be able to get answers to those questions. So don't hold back. If something sparks your interest, drop your question in the chat at any time. We'll get to as many as we can in our time together today. And with that, it is my great pleasure to turn things over to Hillary Hatch. Hillary, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Lori. I'm really excited to be here with all of you today. I have a lot of great information to share with all of you in a short amount of time because I really want to make sure that we have time to get your questions answered. But I really want to start with some of the basics of Social Security. You know, one question that we get asked all the time is individuals wanting to know when is the best time to start collecting benefits? And the answer is, it depends. So there are just so many different factors to take into consideration, and everyone's situation is so different. And that means there really isn't a one best time for everyone, but there's probably a right time for you. Social Security does not advise individuals on when to start collecting benefits, but we do provide individuals with the information they need to help in that decision process. So if you're wondering, where do I even start? This is all so overwhelming. I promise you're not alone, but I want to talk about the steps on where to start in that process. And the first step is really to gather the information that you're going to need to make an informed decision. And the best place to start that process is by creating an online account. It is called a My Social Security account. And you can create this account from our website if you go to ssa.gov/my account. To create an account, you have to be 18 or older, have a Social Security number, and an email address. So once individuals go to ssa.gov to create that account, they will be directed to create an account through id.me or login.gov. Now, these are our credentialing partners, so this is how we verify your identity. And it doesn't matter which one you use. And if you're unsure if one is better for you than the other, you can watch our YouTube video. So you're just going to follow the prompts to create that account. And then going forward, when you log into your account, you will go to ssa.gov, select login, and you can either select login.gov or id.me, whichever one you have, put in your credentials, and then you'll be logged in to your My Social Security account. On the next slide, I'm going to show you one of the benefits of having an online account. So there are tons of benefits to having that online account, especially if you're someone that is trying to figure out when you should file for Social Security benefits. So through that account, that's where you can get benefit estimates based on different ages or dates of when you're thinking about retiring. You also have access to your Social Security statement. Now, the statement is a great financial planning tool. If you are working with a financial advisor in some capacity, most likely they're going to ask you for a copy of your Social Security statement to help with planning your retirement. So the statement has a lot of great information, including benefit estimates for retirement benefits, for disability benefits, for survivor benefits. The first page includes a chart that will tell you how much your benefits will be at age 62 through age 70. And then that second page will give you a snapshot of your earnings record. It's really important to check your earnings record because any benefit that you receive from Social Security is based on how much you've worked and paid into Social Security. If there is a discrepancy, you can provide your W-2 or tax return and get those wages posted to your record. And you can do that right through your My Social Security account. Now, the statement, this might look familiar to some of you. It is something that we used to mail out to everyone, but now those statements only get mailed to workers age 60 and older who do not have an online account. And those typically will come 3 months prior to your birthday. But again, by having that online account, you have access to that statement 24/7. If you would like to request a statement by mail, you can certainly do so. Just know that once you make that request, you will receive that statement in usually 4 to 6 weeks. So there's definitely some advantages to having that online account. So we've talked about where to get the information you need to help with retirement planning, but you may be wondering, how do you even qualify for retirement benefits? So when you're working and paying into Social Security, you are earning credits. To qualify for benefits, a person needs 40 credits, which is 10 years of work. To earn a credit, it's based on a dollar amount, and this amount typically changes each year based on the cost of living. So for this year, to earn 1 credit, you need to make at least $1,810 in gross wages. And the maximum amount of credits you can earn per year is 4. So for example, for this year to earn all 4 credits, you would need to make at least $7,240 in gross wages. For next year, 1 credit is $1,890 or $7,560 to earn those 4 credits. And it doesn't matter if you make all of this in 1 month or if it takes you the course of the entire year. It's also important to know that once you earn credits, you never lose them. So sometimes we'll see where individuals are working and they left the workforce for an extended period of time, maybe to take care of children, family members, whatever the case may be. When they re-enter the workforce later on, any credits they had before are still there. And if you're wondering how many credits you have, you can check that through your My Social Security account. How Social Security determines your benefit amount is based on your entire earnings record. So we're looking at your work over your entire lifetime, and we use your 35 highest earnings years in the computation to determine how much your monthly benefit is going to be. So the next slide is going to show you a little bit about the importance of knowing your full retirement age. So when you have 40 credits, you're going to be eligible for that retirement benefit off of your own work record. And the age you start collecting your benefit will impact your benefit amount. So when you are full retirement age, you will receive 100% of your Social Security benefit. That's why it's important to know your full retirement age, which is based on your year of birth. So for example, for individuals born 1960 or later, full retirement age is age 67. That's when you will receive 100% of your benefit. The earliest that any of us can collect a Social Security benefit is age 62. So for someone born 1960 or later, if they start collecting at age 62, they're only going to receive 70% of the benefit. And then from the time we reach full retirement age up until age 70, you can earn what we call delayed retirement credits. So for someone born 1960 or later, if they wait until age 70 to collect, that benefit will be 124%. The benefit does not increase anymore based on age once we reach age 70, so there's no point in delaying and filing for benefits at that time. So really, the longer you wait, the higher your benefit is going to be. The next slide, I want to talk a little bit about spousal benefits. So some individuals are eligible for benefits from a spouse's record. There's a lot of information on this slide, so I want to give you an example once I talk about these main bullet points here on how someone qualifies for a spousal benefit. So the maximum benefit is 50% of the worker's unreduced benefit. There is a reduction for early retirement. If the spouse's own benefit is less than 50% of the workers, they will be combined to equal 50% of the workers. It does not reduce the payment to the worker. The benefit is unreduced if the spouse is caring for a worker's child younger than 16 or disabled. And spousal benefits are not payable until the worker collects. So let me give you an example. Let's say my husband, at his full retirement age, his benefit is $2,000. That means the maximum that I can receive is 50% of that. So the most that I can get is $1,000. Now, that's only if I start collecting at my full retirement age. If I start collecting prior to my full retirement age, the amount I receive will just depend on how old I am at the time I start collecting. The one exception to this rule is if we have a child that is younger than 16 or a disabled child that I am caring for. Now, if I am due benefits on my own work record as well, and the benefits on my own record are higher than that 50% amount, I don't qualify for a spousal benefit. I can only get benefits on my own record. But if the benefits on my own record are less than that 50% amount, I will receive a combination of the two to equal 50%. Again, that's if I start collecting at my full retirement age. Those percentages will be different if I am under full retirement age. Anything I receive off of my spouse's record, it's not going to impact his benefit at all. And in order for me to get that spousal benefit, my husband has to start collecting benefits on his own record in order for me to get that spousal benefit. It's also possible to collect benefits from an ex-spouse's record. The rules are similar, but in order to collect a benefit from an ex-spouse, the marriage must have lasted at least 10 years. You have to be unmarried. You are at least 62 or older. Your ex-spouse is at least 62 and eligible for benefits, even if they're not collecting. So that's a big difference there. And the benefit you would receive based on your own work is less than the benefit that you would receive based off of your ex-spouse's work. So next I want to transition into survivor benefits. So in addition to spousal and ex-spousal benefits, Social Security can also pay benefits to widowers, or divorced widowers, and we call these survivor benefits. So when we talk about spouses and ex-spouses compared to those survivor benefits, with spouses or ex-spouses, they can start collecting as early as age 62. The maximum benefit amount is 50% of the worker's benefit if they start collecting at full retirement age. It's going to be less than that if they start collecting prior to full retirement age. And that percentage, again, it's just going to depend on how old they are at the time they start collecting. For survivor benefits, an individual can start collecting as early as age 60 or as early as age 50 if disabled. And that amount is 71.5% of the worker's benefit. if the survivor starts collecting at age 60, and this percentage is going to increase each month that they wait up to 100% if the survivor waits until full retirement age to collect. I'd like to give you an example of how survivor benefit works. This is just one example of one scenario. There's lots of different scenarios out there. But in this example, we're going to say that my husband and I are both collecting Social Security benefits off of our own work record. And let's say my husband's benefit that he's getting is $2,000 per month, and my benefit is $1,500 per month. And, we're in our late 70s, and he passes away. What's going to happen? What should I do if he passes away first? So because his benefit is higher than mine, I'm going to drop the $1,500 I receive on my own record, and I'm going to start receiving the $2,000 that he's getting. So you don't get both, you just get the higher of the two. And because I am past my full retirement age, I will receive 100% of what he is getting at the time he passed away. Now, if I were to pass away first, he's not going to collect benefits off of my record because it would be less money. So he's just going to continue to receive those benefits off of his own work record of that $2,000 per month. So the next topic I want to talk about is working while receiving benefits. We get a lot of questions about how work impacts the retirement benefit and what those earnings limits are. So for individuals that are receiving a benefit and they are under full retirement age, these are the earnings limits that are in place. And it's not just retirement benefits, it's benefits off of a spouse, off of an ex-spouse, a survivor benefit. If you are collecting one of those benefits and you're under full retirement age, the earnings limit for this year is $23,400 in gross earnings. And we're only looking at income from work. For next year, that earnings limit is $24,480. If someone under full retirement age were to make over this amount, Social Security will withhold $1 for every $2 they make over the limit. And then if this is the year someone is reaching full retirement age, you can see the earnings limit there. It's significantly higher, the $62,160 for this year. Next year, $65,160. And if individuals were to make over that amount, Social Security would withhold $1 for every $3 over the limit. The month you reach full retirement age and continuing, there is no earnings limit. So I know this can be a little bit confusing for a lot of individuals. We typically get questions about what the amounts actually are, and then we will get questions about, well, what is included in earnings? And we're just looking at income from work. So we're not counting a pension, we're not counting any sort of 401k, IRA distributions, nothing like that. We're only counting your income from work. The next slide, I just want to talk about how you can apply for benefits. So all of our benefit applications are available online except for survivor benefits. If you do not want to file online or you need to file for survivor benefits, you can call our 800 number there to schedule an appointment. And when you call to schedule that appointment, you will have the option to have that appointment completed over the telephone, or you can go into your local office for that appointment. You don't want to just walk into your local office one day and say, I'm here to file for benefits, because most likely they're just going to have to schedule an appointment for you to come back a different day, a different time. So if you're unable to file online or you just don't want to file online, again, that's okay. Just make sure that you call that 800 number there so you can schedule an appointment. So I know that's a lot of information in a short amount of time. And like I said before, we want to make sure that we get to as many questions as we can. So please feel free to put your questions in that chat.
Well, thank you, Hillary. What great information that you shared. I was all ears sitting here at 59 and a half. You can imagine all the questions that I would like answered. And you gave us such great information and insights, and everybody's situation, as you said, is unique. But appreciate that information. But now we're going to go right to these questions. They're coming in, and I'm going to remind everyone, if you have a burning question or just need a little more information or didn't understand, just please send your questions up, and we'll get as many as we can answered in the time we have together today. So coming from Tim, and it's a two-parter. He wanted you to discuss spousal benefits provision. And related to that, how do we apply or change the spousal benefits provision?
So, the rules of collecting a spousal benefit is, in order for me to collect benefits off of my husband, it's going to depend on what my benefit is as well. So if my benefit is more than I can receive off of his record, which is 50% of his benefit at full retirement age, I cannot collect benefits off of his record. If the benefit off of my own record is less than that 50% amount, I can get a combination of the two to equal 50%. But again, those percentages are going to be a little bit different depending on how old I am at the time that I start collecting. And there's some other rules that go into being able to collect a spousal benefit. But really, to get anything changed with those rules, it would take an act of Congress to get that changed.
Absolutely. Great question and good information. Let's go right to the next question. And it's from Lee, who says, I was born in 1961. I am a survivor. Can I collect my Social Security now and then switch to my husband's Social Security at age 70? Also, will I get his full benefits if I wait to switch accounts at age 70?
So with survivor benefits, you do have the option where you can start collecting on one benefit first and then wait to collect on the other benefit later on. Again, this only pertains to survivor benefits. So that means you could start collecting a survivor benefit as early as age 60 and then switch over to your other benefit when you're full retirement age, or maybe even waiting until age 70. Another option would be to start collecting your retirement benefits as early as age 62, and then you could switch over to that survivor benefit later on. However, you would receive 100% at full retirement age for that survivor benefit, and you don't get those delayed retirement credits. So you wouldn't want to wait until age 70 to collect the survivor benefit, because it's not going to be any more than if you were to start collecting it at your full retirement age. So in that situation, you would really want to compare the numbers to see what situation would be best for you. So to get that information, to get information about your own benefits, you can get that through your My Social Security account. Unfortunately, you don't have the availability to get benefit estimates for survivor benefits. So I would suggest reaching out to your local Social Security office to get those benefit estimates.
All right. Thank you, Lee, for that great question. Moving right along here, Sue asks, how accurate are the estimates on the Social Security website if you go into the calculator?
So that's a great question. There are some I guess drawbacks to the Social Security calculator. So you have to play around with it a little bit to get those benefit estimates more accurate. So for example, when you run the Social Security calculator, it's going to automatically put an estimate in there that you're continuing to work. So for example, maybe you're running the calculator knowing, I'm going to stop work at age 62, but I'm not going to start collecting until I'm 65. Well, whatever your earnings were at 62, the computer, it's going to automatically calculate that you're continuing to work up until 65. So could give you an inflated estimate. One way that you can get a more accurate estimate, if you were someone in that situation, you can change the future earnings to 0. So you could put a 0 in there, and then you'll get a better estimate, based on you not continuing to work. So if you log into your My Social Security account, there is a calculator in there with some different drop-down items that you can change, so you can get different estimates based on whatever your scenario is.
Great question. That's a great question with lots of good information. shared there. Next up from Larry asks, what if the surviving spouse remarries?
So remarriage after age 60 will not impact that survivor benefit. If you get remarried prior to age 60, it would. But remarriage after age 60 would not impact that survivor benefit.
All right. And then from Brian, Brian asks, to collect benefits at 70, how early should I apply?
So you can apply up to 4 months before you want your benefits to start. That's the earliest that you can apply. You don't necessarily have to apply 4 months prior to your benefits to start. You could probably apply a month or even 2 months prior to your benefits when you want your benefits to start in order to get that benefit on time.
Okay. All right, feeling good. We got some more questions for you, Hillary. So let's keep going. Let's keep rolling here. From Alexander, we have, can you talk about what benefits are available to minor children once I reach full retirement age and start receiving benefits?
Sure. So for individuals that are receiving a retirement benefit, if you have minor children, they can receive benefits off of your record. And this is part of the Social Security application. When someone is filing for retirement benefits, we will ask, do you have any minor children? Do you have any children that became disabled before the age of 22? And just depending on how someone answers those questions, that's going to tell Social Security, okay, we need to get more information because this person has a child or children that can be eligible for benefits off of their record. The benefit amount that your child or children could receive, it's 50% of your benefit at your full retirement age. Even if you were to file prior to your full retirement age, it's still 50% of what your benefit would be at your full retirement age. And your minor children can continue to receive that benefit up until age 18 or 19 if they are still in high school full time. So typically the benefit will end, once individuals turn, or once your children turn 18 or when they are done with high school, when they graduate.
All right. Good question on minor children. Okay, your next question comes from Randy. And Randy asks, can my wife and I enter our joint information into a calculator on SSA.gov to determine our specific payout benefits during multiple scenarios?
So you do have to do it separately. You can get estimates of what your spouse could receive off of your record, but each one of you would have to do it separately. You also, if you are getting those estimates from a My Social Security account, you each have to have your own My Social Security account. So you each have to have your own email address. Sometimes we'll get that question. My husband and I share an email address. And so whoever creates the account first with that email, when the second person tries to, they're not going to be able to. So you have to have your own email addresses, and then you can create that account and you can run those scenarios only for yourself. And then you could get a determination to see, well, how much could my spouse get off of my benefit? And you would kind of have to work between the two different estimates to see if one could get benefits off of the other.
That's a good question, though. Working in tandem, but you have to have separate accounts and compare those numbers then. All right. Okay. Jerry Ann asks, if one is divorced from their spouse, how does one find out what their benefits are to compare who has the highest?
That's a great question. And just like with survivor benefits, those estimates are not available online. So if you are divorced and you are wondering, how much could you receive, or if you would even be eligible off of your ex-spouse's record, you would want to reach out to your local Social Security office. Now, we typically will ask for the Social Security number. If you don't know, as long as you know the person's name and date of birth, which will be on the marriage license. And that's something that we would need, the marriage license and divorce decree, if you are going to be getting benefits. But that's how we can give you benefit estimates off of an ex-spouse's record. As long as you know their name and date of birth, we can run some numbers to see if you would be eligible.
Another good question. Okay. From Sue, Sue asks, if a person reaches full retirement age and continues to work for a few years, but plans to wait until age 70 to get Social Security benefits, will those 2 or 3 years with no employment income change the amount that will be received at age 70? You can't go back and add zeros in the calculator on the website. You can only do that going forward.
So how Social Security determines what your monthly benefit is going to be is we use your 35 highest earnings years. So if you have, let's say that you're someone that has, 45 years of work, we're going to pick out your 35 highest earnings years. If you are someone that maybe only has 30 years of work, when we do that calculation, we're going to use all 30 years in the computation, but then we are also going to use 5 zeros. So as you work, one of those years of work that you have is going to replace one of those 0 years. If you are someone that already has 35 years of work, as you continue to work, as you get older, the years that we use are going to change could change depending on what those earnings are.
Okay. I was waiting for this question, and I'm sure you were anticipating it, Hillary. Linda is concerned about all the news about Social Security running out of money by 2030. Many people want to wait till 70 to claim benefits, but are worried that the money won't be there if they wait. Can you please discuss this important concern?
Yes, this is an important concern. It's something that typically comes up, in most of the presentations and outreach events that we do. It's a huge concern for the public. And based on the Social Security Trustees report, which came out earlier this year, it's something that gets released typically the spring, early summer of each year. Most recently, when the trustees report came out, the figures from that report is that if Congress does nothing, the Social Security Trust Fund would become depleted in the year 2033. So that doesn't mean that we can't pay benefits at all in 2033. It's just that at that time, we could only pay 77% of the benefits that are due. And that's if Congress does nothing. So this is a concern for everyone. If we look at what Congress has done in the past when we have gotten close to depleting those trust funds, there's always been something that was done. So for example, the full retirement age used to be age 65, and now it is age 67. And I think there are some other examples too, where Congress has, taken action to ensure those trust funds are available. So, it's really a matter of what is Congress going to do to ensure that Social Security funding is available, especially for individuals, that are paying in now, not collecting? Is it going to be there someday when it comes time for us to start collecting? And what I will typically say is, one of the best things that you can do is make your voice be heard, make sure that you vote, stay connected with groups like AARP and the other groups that are, rallying behind Social Security, because we know how important it is to everyone, especially our seniors.
All right. Thank you for that plug too. I was going to say AARP, as a state volunteer president for Michigan, we've spent many, many days on Capitol Hill talking about this issue, and it is on everybody's radar screen. So letting your voice be heard, it's your money, you earned it, and let them know your feelings. So get your calculator out. No, there's just some numbers in this one, Hillary. So Tim says, my benefit is $2,726, while my wife's is $1,113, which is less than 50% of mine. Can we adjust hers to 50% of mine, which would be $1,363? She retired at 62 and a half. I retired at 66.
So if she started collecting her own benefit prior to her full retirement age, she's never going to get the full 50% off of your record. And the reason for that, this gets a little bit confusing, so I'm going to try my best to explain it. When we determine how much a spouse is going to receive, And I'm going to use different numbers, Tim, because I can't do that quick math off the top of my head. But, I'm going to give an example where, let's say my husband's benefit is $2,000 per month, and the maximum that I could receive off of his record is $1,000 per month. But let's say my benefits at my full retirement age are $700 per month. That means I can get the $700 off of my record plus an additional $300 off of my husband's record. Combination of the two equal 50%. Let's say I start collecting my benefits early and I'm only getting $600 per month. Well, when Social Security does the computation and we take that 50% amount of his, we don't take that 50% and subtract the $600 that I'm getting. Social Security still uses the $700 that I would have received if I would have waited to file for my own benefits. So if you file for your own benefits first, you're never going to receive that full 50% amount if you start collecting your own benefits before your full retirement age and you're going to be due a spousal benefit.
Wow, that great. I even understood the answer. So I think that you did great with that. Okay, Bernadine, from Bernadine, we have, if you are 70 and remarried, can you collect the 100% benefit from an ex-spouse who was deceased and were married to more than 10 years?
Yes, so there's a couple things to take into consideration. If the remarriage happened after age 60, then you could be eligible for that survivor benefit, and you could possibly collect 100% off of that individual's record, that ex-spouse's record, as long as you're over full retirement age. And if you're age 70, sounds like you are. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It's also going to, depend on, I was going to say it's going to depend on what your own earnings are, what your own benefit is, but that's not the case with the survivor benefits. So if you do think that you might be eligible for a survivor benefit, you can always reach out to your local Social Security office and they can run some numbers for you to determine if you would be eligible off of your ex-husband's record that has passed away.
Okay, good information there. Okay, Joel says, I'm 1 year past my full retirement age. I've been told I can retroactively collect the FRA amount from the date of my FRA in a lump sum, which is less than what the amount would be now if I filed as of this date. Is that correct?
So the most that you can go retroactive is 6 months. So if you are past your full retirement age and you're going to file for Social Security, you can go retroactive 6 months and get that lump sum. However, keep in mind that every month that you wait to file, the higher your benefit is going to be. So if you do go back retroactive 6 months, then that means your monthly Social Security benefit is going to be a little bit less than if you would have just started collecting at the time that you file without going back those 6 months. It would probably be a pretty small percentage. And again, everyone's situation is different. Some people might say, let's say it's $30 or $40 per month. For some individuals, they might say, no, I want that higher benefit. That makes a difference. But some people might say, that's not that much. I want to take that 6 month lump sum.
Excellent question and great information. We've got about 5 minutes left, so we're going to jump into some more questions before we wrap up for today. From Jerry Ann, she asks, can you start getting benefits and then pause them? For example, if you aren't working now and need the benefits, but then get a job and want to pause receiving those benefits, is that possible?
So it is possible. If you start collecting benefits and you decide, I think I made a mistake, I don't want to start collecting, or, you retired or, resign from work, whatever the case may be, and you get your job back, something like that, you can actually withdraw the benefits as long as it happens within 12 months of when you started collecting. So you only have a year to withdraw the benefits, and then you have to pay back any benefits that you received. And it's like it didn't happen. but maybe you don't have the capability to repay the benefits that you received, or maybe it's been past a year and so you don't qualify to be able to withdraw the benefit. If you decide that you are, going to go back to work and you're over that earnings limit and you're not going to receive a monthly Social Security benefit because you're going to be over the earnings limit, that's really how you would pause the benefits. It's going to be based on what your estimate is for work.
Another great question. All right, from Jean, my birthday is late in the year. If I wait until full retirement age, when should I apply?
So again, you can apply up to 4 months before you want your benefits to start. So if you were applying, let's say in July, but you don't want your benefits to start for 3 or 4 months, when you apply in July, it doesn't mean that your benefits will start in July. You indicate on the application the month that you want your benefits to start. Again, you can file in advance up to 4 months. And then keep in mind that we pay a month behind. So for example, if you indicate on your application you want your benefits to start in November, that November payment will come in December.
Okay, at 4 months. Okay, there we have another good question on timing. From Sue, can you confirm, are survivor benefits based on the deceased Social Security amounts at their full retirement age or age of death if they haven't filed yet?
So it would be based on it depends on when they pass away. If they pass away prior to their full retirement age, then the benefits would be based on their benefit amount at full retirement age. If they had never filed and they hadn't collected, let's say now they're age 68 and they pass away, they never collected, the benefit amount would be based on what their benefit would be at age 68. So those delayed retirement credits get calculated into that amount.
Okay, maybe time for 1 or 2 more here. David asks, will auto pay for Medicare automatically cease when I start Social Security?
So when you are receiving a Social Security benefit, the Medicare premium will automatically be deducted from Social Security. What will happen if you are someone that had Medicare first, so you're 65 or whatever age and you have Medicare, and then you apply for Social Security later on, what will happen is the Medicare premium will automatically will start coming out of your Social Security benefit. Oftentimes, there is a lapse where that auto pay doesn't shut off right away. So it's like you pay double, but you will get reimbursed. It just takes a little bit of time for our system to make that adjustment. So a lot of times it'll be maybe a month or 2 before you get reimbursed from switching from, auto pay or paying Medicare directly into getting that premium deducted right out of your Social Security benefit. That happens pretty frequently to a lot of people.
Makes sense. Okay, well, I think if we just hurry through, we'll get this last question in. Do I choose what tax percentage, Brian asks, do I choose what tax percentage I want taken out during the application process?
Great question. So you can choose during the application process, but you don't have to. You can wait. You can make that adjustment whenever you would like to. So if someone wants to have taxes withheld out of their Social Security benefit, there's 4 different percentages that you can choose from. You can do that during the application process. You can do it the month after, the year after. It's really whenever you choose to do that. And it's called a voluntary tax withholding form. You can do that through your My Social Security account or by sending that form to your local office, even calling your local office.
All right, Hillary, we did it. That was a firing line of questions, but we are out of time. And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody attending today in AARP. Thank you for your expertise and your time, for answering all our burning questions. And on the screen, you will see the website for AARP's upcoming events. These events are all free, and there's always something for everyone. So thank you so much for coming. Have a great rest of your day, and we feel much more informed when it comes to Social Security. Thank you.